Sometimes discipline feels like the opposite of freedom, like a tightening, like something narrowing in. I notice that reaction in myself whenever I hear the word as subtle resistance in the body. The mind already imagining rules, restraint, effort, control. But if I stay with that feeling for a moment, if I don't rush past it, there's something else underneath. Almost like discipline isn't the cage, but the silence that appears once the noise agrees to step back. I might be wrong, but it feels like Patanjali wasn't interested in forcing the mind into obedience. It feels more like he was curious about what remains when the mind stops interrupting itself, when it stops narrating every movement, every sensation, every thought, as if commentary were necessary for existence. There are moments in ordinary life where this happens accidentally, when you're watching a flame and time loosens its grip without permission, when the breath slows on its own, not because you told it to, but because nothing is pushing it anymore, when attention rests somewhere gently, without effort, and for a second there is no commentary, no inner narrator, no need to adjust or improve what's happening. Those moments don't feel disciplined. They feel free, and yet they only arrive when something unnecessary falls away. The Yoga Sūtra seems to circle this paradox quietly, that liberation doesn't come from adding practices or experiences, but from subtracting the compulsions we mistake for ourselves. The movements we assume are essential simply because they're familiar. What's striking is how unromantic the text feels beneath the reverence surrounding it. It doesn't promise visions or bliss or transcendence. It doesn't beg for belief. It doesn't even insist you succeed. It just keeps pointing, calmly, to the mechanics of attention, to how thought moves, how identity clings, how suffering repeats itself because the mind prefers familiarity over truth. There's something almost scientific about it, like an ancient laboratory manual for consciousness, written by someone who understood that awareness cannot be forced to behave, only observed patiently until it reveals its habits. I notice how often I confuse effort with sincerity, how easily I believe trying harder is the same as going deeper. But the sutras feel indifferent to effort. They seem more interested in consistency, in returning again and again to noticing what is actually happening rather than what I hope should be happening. Discipline here doesn't feel heroic. It feels almost boring, uncelebrated, like brushing your teeth for the mind not to become special, not to achieve something mystical, but simply to stop decaying unnoticed. And maybe that's why it works, because nothing dramatic is being fed. There's a humility embedded in this approach that feels easy to miss.